Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Richard Taylor, Final Cut Pro Radio TV Live. This is the third live stream that we've done in the last 48 hours. So in the last 2 days, we've done 3 live streams. And I figured I would pop on here today for a couple of reasons. Number one, I got some new gizmos that I'm playing around with, and I wanted to show you some of the things that I'm working with. I really like. Oh, the comments aren't working. I wonder what's going on there. Let me see if I can make a comment. I'm going to just do a test comment and see. I can never tell if they're working or not. Oh, there we go. Yeah, they're working. Comments are working. So listen, as I said before, when we did our initial stream on when Logic 10.5 came out, 10.5, Logic and Final Cut Pro have been like this. What? It's a bit metal? Oh. Now it should sound good. Thanks for telling me that. I knew exactly what it was. It's the one interface I have has a phasing, weird phasing kind of a thing. I just switched it to the proper interface. Thank you, Gert, for telling me that. So Mark says, no 10.5 dang. And then Gert told me your sound is a bit metal. I knew exactly what he meant. So I fixed that. Thank you for telling me that. What I use is I use Ecamm Live, and I can set up different scenes. And each one of the scenes has their own audio source. So I switched to one of my scenes that had the wrong audio source, and I didn't catch it until Gert told me. He told me it sounded a little bit metal. I said, well, let me check that out, see what's going on there. So yes, so let's check. Justine says, still waiting for X to update. Well, let's go check. Let's go check the App Store. No, it's still 10.5. The heck was that? I mean, it's still 10.4.8 so far. So we have to wait a little longer. I mean, listen, we know it's coming. If you could be here inside the Pro Apps team right now, they're going, hey, Logic Pro 10 updated to 10.5. Let us update Final Cut Pro to 10.5 at the same time. There's no way they're going to allow Final Cut Pro 10.4.8 to lag behind Logic in numbers. It just doesn't look right. It's just a visual thing. So I expect it, maybe they'll do it on a Friday. I don't think so, but who knows? They could do it on a Friday. They could do it tomorrow. They could do it next Tuesday. Here's my bet. If it doesn't happen tomorrow, next Tuesday's a good candidate because that's when Logic came out. Logic Pro 10.5 came out on a Tuesday. And a Tuesday was a very typical day when they updated Final Cut Pro. It was very typical in the past. So once again, 10.5, Logic 10.5, which is a big update. I haven't really played with it yet. I have downloaded it. Number one, while you're waiting for Final Cut Pro to arrive, zip your current version of the application. Zip it. Right-click on it, and it says, I forget what it says, zip something. But zip it so you have a current copy of Final Cut Pro. So when you update to 10, listen, could it be 10.4.9? Yeah, but that would be kind of silly. If Logic's 10.5, they should just update Final Cut Pro to 10.5 too. They've pretty much been compress it, he says. It says compress it. There you go. Compress it. So you make a copy of the current version. So if you need to go back for any special reason, you can. Do that now. Don't do that on the day that Final Cut Pro 10.5 arrives or 10.4.9. I mean, if they want to do 10.4.9, to me, that's silly. Of course, they have. Does Ecamm Live allow you to lay the comments? Yes, that's a nice part of your stream. Yes, it does. It works most of the time. Sometimes, because I'm going through Restream, it doesn't allow. It gets a little flaky. But yes, that's Ecamm Live feature. So I can add any comments that I want just by clicking on them. So that's one of the things, Ecamm Live. So Ecamm Live, when I bring guests in, I have to use Skype right now. But from what I understand, the developers are developing their own group chat kind of a thing that we're not going to need to use Skype in the future. We'll see. We'll see how that works. I mean, I am not going to count on it until it's here, but the people that develop Ecamm Live, a couple of young brothers, they're fantastic with responsiveness. They do their own live streams all the time, so I highly recommend Ecamm Live. So, what do we have today? Look at this. This is all the Gizmos stuff that I'm going to be working with today. This is an overhead cam, obviously. So I have a Gobi ND, variable ND filter. I have the Rode Wireless Go, and I have brand new Moment Anamorphic lens that we're going to be talking about. And then, what the heck's this? What's this in the box? That's some of the things we're going to talk about today, because I'm really into, I don't know if the rest of you are, but I'm really into mobile photography, iPhone photography. I have a GH5 and a GH4 that I use. I like them because they're small, but I've really, since I've got the iPhone 11 Pro Max, I've been using it most of the time. It's been fantastic. It really, really has. So let me pull up one of these. I'm going to turn this off. These live streaming things are also Ecamm Live. I can turn them on and off. Turn them off for right now. So one of the things that I got this anamorphic lens, and I got the Moment anamorphic lens. And one of the things when you're shooting outside with the anamorphic lens is you have to get an ND filter if you're out in the bright sunlight. So that's what this Gobi is. We'll go over that in a minute. But I'm going to show you some of the footage that I got with this anamorphic lens this morning on my typical walk. I do a walk in the morning. So let's watch just 30 seconds or so of some of the anamorphic footage I got. This is from an iPhone with an anamorphic lens. So that's the first time I've been out shooting with that. I just figured I'd take it out on my walk this morning. I usually go for a couple miles, 2-3 miles, which I did. Chris says, handheld or gimbal. I have an Osmo Mobile 3, but when I put the anamorphic lens on, it's fine. But when I put this Gobi ND filter on it as well, it gets very, very heavy. So I haven't really balanced it with that. But no, that was handheld. That was handheld. Now, the iPhone 11 Pro Max has some built-in stabilization, and it works pretty well. So if you can hold, I had I had this. This is what I shot with this morning. This is a combination of a stick. I have an adjustable swivel here that I can swivel, and then this is the adjustable, this is the Manfrotto adjustable iPhone holder. So I hold it at a little bit of an angle, and I just do this a lot of times. This doesn't require balancing like the other gimbal does. I have a couple of different setups like that I use when I go out. So I'm going to keep checking the App Store. I don't know if you guys are checking the App Store or not, but I keep checking it. I keep checking it for you. So if you didn't see it, I'll pull this up. FCPX.TV. First off, you can go to send your request or feedback to the Final Cut Pro team by clicking on this link. It's on the main page. Easy to remember, right? FCPX.TV. Very easy to remember. You don't have to remember long URLs. You don't have to remember it. Just click on that link. It'll take you to the feedback page. Feedback. So it'll take you right there. Now, I'll have a master list of articles, of course, but this is the one I have up right now. That's what it feels like waiting on Final Cut Pro 10.5. Hannibal Lecter. I thought that was a very funny image that I wanted to use. And there's an article there that I talk about things that I expect to see in Final Cut Pro 10.5. All kinds of stuff. You can go there, FCPX.TV, just go to the main page, and it's linked right there. And of course, right here also is, before you update to Final Cut Pro, back up your Final Cut Pro application and back up your libraries. I also have a master list of Final Cut Logic Pro resources for Final Cut Pro editors there as well. I'll be updating this site, FCPX.TV. I got this site when Final Cut Pro was first previewed at the LACPUG Super Meet that they had that year. I got up that night, 10 o'clock at night, whenever it was that they announced Final Cut Pro 10, and I got the domain, set up the domain, the site since then, but I haven't really updated it that much in the last year or so, but now I'm back on track with it again. I got a new web design app that I'm using, and I'm redoing all the pages and bringing the articles back up forward. But anyway, that will be, when Final Cut Pro 10.5 launches, you will be able to get all your articles and everything right there in one place. You don't have to go around to 10 different places. When something big like 10.5 comes out, I always do this. I see this article. Oh yeah, it's a good article. Let me save it for later. This article, save it for later. This article, save it for later. Save it for later. And the next thing you know, I don't know where the articles are. I lost them. So what I started doing is now I grab the articles, and I make a nice master list for everybody to reference. This list is basically for me, but I share it with everybody else. So you can go there once it gets up and running, once we get up and running, and there'll be all the articles for Final Cut Pro 10.5 when it comes out. So let's talk about this Moment lens. This attaches to the iPhone. It takes a special case. It's got a little, let me see if I can pull it up there. It's got a little tab there. You have to align it with the case, and then you twist it quarter turn, and it locks it in place. And it goes over top of the regular iPhone lens, the regular. They call it the wide. I call it the regular one. I think it also can go over the 2x zoom lens as well. Haven't tried that yet, but it's, I think it should. You need a special case, like I said. It's this case right here. This is the Moment case. And so let me put it on there for you. I'll show you how it goes. So you take this, you line the tabs up. Let me put them on there. And you just twist it. And then it's locked on. This is the lens cover, and it's locked on, and there's the anamorphic lens. And it just comes off the same way. So it goes for this. This is the regular lens. This is the zoom lens. I think it'll work with the zoom lens as well. I'm not sure. But one of the things, like I said, you're going to need an ND filter for outside when you're filming outside. And the reason for that is because you want to manually control your frame rate. Let me pull the app up here while I got you guys. Let me see, where is it? You want to control your frame rate over here. So my ISO is, well, it's 204 right now, but you want to control your frame rate, not your frame rate, your shutter speed. So I keep mine at 48. I don't know if you probably can't see that, but it's at 48. And because I shoot in 24p, so you want to double your frame per second for your shutter speed. So I shoot at 1/148th. And then the ISO you want to control as well. You don't want the phone to do that. You just tap on it, and then you can change your ISO, whatever you want, and then tap off, and it'll be locked on that. You don't want to use automatic settings. That's why you use the ND filter to bring the light level down in your phone. Now, I just started using that. I just started using the ND filter. I just used it outside for the first time today, and I really, really liked it so far. Now, I got a variable. So the one I have, let's go look at that. The one I have is this Gobi. It's one of the ones that they sell on the Moment site, although they didn't have it. And it's a variable, so you can just adjust it. And it does require this adapter. This adapter fits on the phone, on the lens like this, the phone. It just fits right on it. It's just pressure fit. And so you stick this on and it just stays there. And then you can adjust. There's an adjustment. There's two different fields, and it just adjusts, lets more light in or less light in. And that way you can keep your shutter speed at, well, in my case, 1/48th, and I can control the ISO, keep it down low so it doesn't get grainy or anything. What you don't want to do is you don't want to be on automatic with that anamorphic lens, or outside, because you won't get satisfactory results. You want to do that manually. So Gert says, what material is it made from? It's a combination. This is metal, I think. Metal, it's metal. The lens is metal, might be a little bit of plastic. The cap is certainly plastic. And it's not cheap. These lenses are not cheap, that's for sure. They're not cheap. Somebody just rang my doorbell, but I'm not going to answer it. Somebody else has to answer it. So, what else do we have here? We have that. What the heck is this? Something else from Rode. Yes, it is. So, I use these quite a bit. The Rode Wireless Goes. This one's turned on right now. If you can see, it has a microphone right there in the top. It actually has a microphone right there. So this is the body pack that I have. One of the things that it has, one of the new things, if you'll see this is a metal clip-on that goes on the Rode now. Let me pull me back up here. So one of the things that they came out with, where did that go? There it is there, is the ability to put this anywhere. Like I'm going to put it under my lapel, just say, but I can't clip it on there. They have a new magnetic system. This magnet is really strong, and I just do this, and the Rode's there. It's there. It just stays because this magnet is super strong. I'm not saying that I would put the Rode lapel there. I'm going to take it out, but you can put it under a shirt, under a collar, under a tie, and you don't have to clip it on. You use this magnet structure. It's pretty darn clever. So I use the wireless Go quite a bit, and I use the stock microphone because it's pretty good. It's pretty good as a lapel. I really like it. So it's what it is this piece. Let me see how this comes off. So you basically, once you get the system, just leave the clip on. I'm going to take it off to show you. Just leave the clip on, but it just clips on. It's kind of hard to get off once you get it on there. But it just clips on. See, I just dropped it. It clips on. This is the metal thing, and it just clips on over top of the existing Rode cold shoe. This is for a cold shoe. So it just clips on there, and then this super strong magnet is what you would use if you have it over top of your clothes or whatever. So that's one of the things that Rode has come out with that I like. I'm going to take this. I'll leave it on there for the time being. I'll take it off. That's one of the things that I like that Rode has. I'm going to pull this off too because I have to show you something else that Rode has. I forgot. I don't think this is going to work with that on there, but it might. Don't know. So we have a comment. How is the noise from clothes rubbing on it if the person moves around, shifts in their seat, etc. during an interview? You always have to watch for that. So if it's, for me, this is what I do with the Rode. I put it inside my shirt, just out of view, right about there, typically. So the shirt acts as a windscreen. The Rode actually has two little muff windscreens that you can get, but I just use my shirt if I'm outside, just right out here, and it doesn't muffle it too much. It doesn't cut the frequencies down. So I don't ruffle. I mean, my clothes are not ruffling, but you do have to watch that if you have talent, especially if you have somebody with a dress. That could be a factor. So I'm going to get, I like the Rode Wireless Go quite a bit. You can also plug a lapel in. Look. You can plug a lapel in right there. It has an input for a microphone. You can plug in a lapel microphone that'll cut this microphone off. This microphone is so darn handy, though, that I use it quite a bit. I am going to get a high-quality lav. I've tried some cheaper lavs, and they're not that good. But I am going to get a high-quality, so you can use either one. You can put this as a body pack on somebody's belt. Be aware of something. These new transmitters, the ones that are in the gigahertz range, which this one is, what is it? I forget what it is. In the gigahertz range, they're great for line of sight. They work very well for line of sight. In other words, I'm facing the camera, this is in front of me. If I put this behind me and walk too far away, it will cut out. And it's not just this one. Other ones have done the same thing in that new frequency range they have. It's like 5 gigahertz something, whatever the heck it is. So it will cut out. So just sitting down with an interview with somebody in the same room, it's fine. 10 feet, it's fine. But if you get past 10 feet and you got to make sure this is in line of sight with the receiver. That's an important thing. So what else do we have here from Rode? Let me just plug this in. I have the transmitter. I'm going to plug in. Sorry for that little bit of noise. This is new from Rode. It turns the, it's so funny, it turns the wireless Go into, I'm going to drop this on the floor. Let me get it out of sight. It turns the wireless Go into a handheld. Very clever. This is plastic, but it's actually heavier duty than I thought. It's much heavier duty, so it really works well. And what you do, I turn that, there. What you do is you just clip this on here. Let me see if you can see this. With the cold shoe mount. And then stick this on top. And now you have a handheld wireless microphone. Very clever. I was actually doing this before Rode developed one. I was actually doing this with, I had a black tube that I used, and I actually put the Rode on there. Now let me see if I can get this to work. Let me see something here. Check 1, 2, test 3, 4. So this is the Rode. I'm not testing this for quality. I'm not testing this for quality today. I just wanted to show you the convenience of using the handheld. This is the Rode Wireless Go. Now, it's not going to be as good as my studio setup. I realize that. But this is the Rode. If you're interviewing somebody, you can do this. It works, it's very clever. Audio is super soft. Yeah, I figured that. Once again, I'm not doing this for audio quality today. I'm just, because I don't have an optimal setup. But I just wanted to show you that it does work. I turned it up as loud as, let me turn it up as loud as I can get it. There you go. Now, the other thing that the Rode receiver has, receiver. This is the transmitter. The one thing that it has 3 different adjustment levels. I can boost it up multiple. I have it on the lowest setting because I have a tendency to overdrive this capsule when I talk. So I keep it on the lowest setting, but I could turn it up louder in the receiver. 3 separate dB settings. But once again, I'm not testing the quality of this today. That's not what I'm doing. I just wanted to show you this clever design that they have. It's a handheld. Back to my studio mic. It's a handheld microphone. Wireless. It's so clever with the big windscreen on it. It's just extremely clever. Look, it's on sale right now. If you want to grab it, it just came out. I just got mine from B&H. It's $29. I think it's normally going to be $39. So if you have the Rode Wireless Go, once again, this is what it looks like clipped on there. So I like the Rode Wireless Go enough that I'm going to unplug it so we don't have interference. There we go. I like the Rode Wireless Go enough that I'm going to get a second set. So I have this one, and I'm going to get another one in white. They just started making them in white now. So I'm going to get a white one, so if I encounter somebody with a white shirt or a lady with a white dress or something, then I will use the white one, but I have 2 of them. I'll use the black one for most of the time, but the white one will come in handy as well. I worked at the National Archives, and I used to have to mic people up. I was the main audio person, so I mic'd people up in the green room all the time. And, there's techniques to it on how to mic things up. So let's just check on a few things. There is the App Store. It's still saying 10.4.8. But I think that'll soon be saying, look, it could be 10.4.9. Who the heck knows? What do you all want in 10.5? Everybody wants 10.5. What do you want to see in 10.5? What would you like to see? I have a few things. Let me pull up my list. Let me pull up my list. So there's a couple of things I want to see. Number one, I want the audio. You know, we always hear audio is 50% of good video. So I want to see better audio controls in the next version of the next feature update for Final Cut Pro. Hello from Canada. Lutz, Caveman, Man Cave Productions. Thank you very much. I know Justine wants zoom in and out and list view, and I want that too. That's a good one. I'll have to add that to my list. In the browser she's talking about. What else? Compound clips, open clip in timeline. Expand for editing directly in the timeline instead of going back and forth to yet another timeline that has no visual relation to the master timeline. So when you open up a compound clip now, it jumps to another timeline. It has no relationship visually to the main master timeline. Nothing in that compound clip can you see how it aligns if you take things out or rearrange them or whatever. You have no visual relationship to the main timeline anymore. So rather than jumping to another timeline off, you get rid of your main timeline, just expand it in the main timeline. That way you can visually see where everything is in the master clip compared to things in the timeline. So we have, Justine says, variable proxy file system, absolutely. So the proxy system is variable resolution, variable codec to me, and variable data rate. Those are the three. Scott says the same thing, better proxy workflow, Bezier distortion controls. I'm not sure what they are. What is distortion controls? Ability to expand compound clips in the timeline, yes. So there's the compound clips right in the timeline, as we talked about. And something else to hear. Speaking of Logic Pro, Logic Pro 10.5, Logic's had advanced preferences for quite a while. So in Logic, there's a preference for advanced preferences as a checkbox. And you can go in there and turn like up to 6 different advanced preferences on or off by checking the boxes. Final Cut needs that. We need to get into some of these things sometimes that maybe a beginner doesn't want, and they don't put them out there because they don't want to confuse the beginner. What about the professionals that need it? You have to take care of the professionals too. Logic Pro is a pro app. It's on your team. So give us advanced preferences we can turn on and off if you don't want beginners to have them. So Lutz says metadata should merge when you sync sound and video. That sounds like something good. And then Lutz says, Scott says, distortion controls would be like corner pins with Bezier handles, known as extended bicubics. Okay, I'll take your word for that. It's off topic, but there's an easy fix to Final Cut shutting down when I share a completed project. You mean it quits on you? Final Cut should not be quitting on you when you share a completed project. If it does, you have other issues. There's something else going on, either with the project, the media, or Final Cut, or a preference. Go to FCPX.tv. I have an article there on sharing problems. Garrett says more colors for rolls. Or not only colors for rolls, how about color coding clips? It's one of the things that I have. That's interesting. You brought that up. Let's go back. So advanced preferences, timeline and toolbar improvements. Now I included a whole bunch of them in there. Options for timeline markers, color dragging tools, shortcut icons, a scrolling and paging option, dupe detection for Sean, source clip and project time code, and a lock, clip, or storyline in place command to prevent accidental movement. That's something that I'd like to see. The other thing is there's lots of empty timeline space that could be put to good use. It's been empty for 9 years. Look at the difference between Final Cut Pro's timeline ruler and Logic Pro's, which is, look at all these things that Logic has. Once again, if you don't want them, you don't have to turn them on, but I like having sophisticated. Look at this time code. You have 2 different time code sources, a whole bunch of other information, versus this one, singular. I like Logic's a lot better. Once again, if you think it's too complex, first off, I've been using Logic for a long time, so I add things as I need them. But in Final Cut, look at all this empty space not being used. How about putting a proxy button there? Put a proxy button so when you're in the proxy mode, you can visually see it instantly. You can visually see it instantly. You don't have to go up to the viewer and go to the view menu and then bring that down. Visually see it right here. What about that? Something like that. A couple of other common ones. This should be customizable. You can put things up here that you want to see up there that perhaps other people, if they don't want it, they want to leave it blank, that's completely fine. I like to have, since the space isn't being used, I like to use it for something. What do you think? So here's another one that they may or may not do. How about transition auditions to stack and try out several auditions on an edit? Right now you have to delete one, put one back, delete one, put one back. What if you could stack stack transitions into an audition the same way you do a regular audition, and you can choose which transition to try out. I'd like to see that. Bob Mellor says thank you. Thank you. I don't know if that's the Bob that I know from the band, from the musician. Is that you, Bob? I think that's maybe him. Role-based effects. Well, rather than role-based effects, how about a roles-based mixer? How about that? When I go into Logic and I apply an effect, I apply it to a bus. I can apply it to an individual channel. I can apply it to the master fader. I don't have to click into a compound clip and click out and click in and click out. Don't have to do all that. That's a very clunky way of doing audio. I don't like it. I don't use that. I go to Logic when I do that. So how about some kind of a roles-based mixer? The Final Cut Pro team's smart. There's some smart people, men and women both. They will come up with a good way to do a roles-based mixer. I'm quite sure of that. Oh yes, colors for clips would be great. Well, let's get down to that point. Color coding for libraries, events, clips, projects, etc. With Final Cut Pro 10.3, we got the ability to color roles, but we lost color in the timeline index and the browser. It's like they only have so much color they can share. look at Logic's color palette. I think it's even more expansive than this. I think this is the old color palette. They've even expanded it beyond that. So, have you heard of people using emojis in the browser? They put emojis beside clips to visually look and see, to visually distinguish one clip from the other. They're using color. They're using a yellow banana. They're using a red apple. They're using a green apple. They're using a purple check mark. You're not using the icons. You're using color. You're using color to distinguish things, visually distinguish things. They wouldn't have to use emojis if we could color code our clips. If you guys are familiar with LumaFusion, you can not only can you color clips, you can sort by the color. You can sort by the color red. If you put red in the search field, all the clips that are labeled red will come up. If you put blue in the search field, all the clips that are blue will come up. That would be very, very handy in the browser for Final Cut Pro. Garrett says audio ducking. Yes, audio ducking is in iMovie. Justine says, yeah, that is way above her IQ. Okay, well, you'll like this one then, Justine. Improved proxy workflow. That includes proxy relinking. Proxy relinking. Right now, you cannot force relink your proxies or just relinking your proxies. Can't do it. Selectable frame size and data rate. H.264 or H.265 is a codec. A user selectable proxy folder rather than Final Cut Pro dictated one. And proxy media consolidation. They sound like good things, right? So Coco says, when importing to the library from Drive, blade key to import only portion of the clips you want. Right, you can do that on cards, I think, now. You can set an in and out point and just import the selection that you want. But if you're importing from a Drive, I guess you can't do that. You have to take the whole clip. Been begging for variable proxy file systems since 10.0. Once I started using it, absolutely. And we want to be able to link proxies. So if we take them on another drive and they become unlinked, we can relink them. You can relink media. Why can't you relink proxies? Hopefully this is going to be in 10.5. What else do we have here? These are just some of the ideas. Slip audio and video out and back in sync without detaching audio. We could do that in Final Cut Pro 7. You got a little icon that told you how many frames you were plus or minus. You could slip it back in sync. It would just be so nice to be able to do that in the clip. I don't want to open the clip in the timeline. That's not what I'm talking about. I want to do it to the clip in the main timeline. Slip audio, slip video, and have out of sync indicators. How about this one? Checkboxes to allow custom settings such as spatial conform and dual mono stereo to be saved. I always hear how sophisticated the database is for Final Cut Pro. Saving a setting like that should be easy for it, right? Daniel Suzuki says, be able to put events in folders. That's a good idea. Scott Markowitz says, I would also love built-in tracking, especially for color grades. So is tracking typically in an NLE? Is that something that That's something that Resolve has in Premiere and Avid. I don't know if that's something. I guess, yeah, it seems like it should be there. It's in motion, right? You can do stuff in motion. Draw Mask is terribly underpowered for rotoscope work. All righty. So Scott says, yes, they all have versions of tracking. Yes. Okay. So everybody has it but Final Cut. So maybe we'll get something like that. That's a good idea. I mean, I use tracking. I've used tracking before. I've used it in Motion, I think. Is that where I've used it? In Motion? That seems like Motion. Sounds like Motion. Yeah. Motion. I don't go to Motion that often. I let other people like Mark Spencer do it. I just pay him $29 for a plugin when it goes on sale and you buy his plugins. I do like the plugin makers. Absolutely. All of you are appreciated. It says Motion has a pixel tracker. That's interesting. To track the pixels. Well, that's very interesting. So, no Final Cut Pro 10.5 yet. 10.5 is coming. It's got to be coming. I mean, if they do 10.4.9, whatever, that's like Final Cut Pro team, you're going to let Logic go to 10.5 and you guys are still at 10.4.8? Come on. Get that 10.5 out. Maybe we'll see it tomorrow. Who knows? If we don't see it tomorrow or later today, whatever, we won't see it over the weekend. I doubt it. But we could see it next Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday. Let me pull something up here. Let me just check TweetDeck. Steam Deck, this is a comment on Twitter. Steam Deck is a very nice device. This is my Steam Deck. Stream Deck, not Steam Deck, Stream Deck. I have 15 buttons that I can push to change scenes. Like right now, I'm changing my cameras by using this. This is my audio interface. I have a mute button. So I can physically mute my microphone. I love a physical mute button rather than clicking a mouse. I really, really like it. This is my Apollo Twin X. This, of course, is my Anamorphic lens, the Gobi neutral density filter, the Rode mic, my wireless keyboard from my Mac Pro. I love this thing. It's rechargeable, no batteries. And this desk I have is an L-shaped desk that can go up and down. It's motorized. It's a standing desk that I can raise and lower as I see fit. This is another mic that I use. This is my Sennheiser MKE 600 that I use quite a bit. This is one of my favorite shotgun microphones. It's battery powered, and I put a transmitter on here, or I can cable this XLR to 1/8 inch to Lightning port directly into my iPhone if I want to. This is one of my favorite microphones for interviewing. I can interview people back and forth. It works really, really well. If you've seen the Final Cut Pro interviews that I've done, the live interviews that I've done, that's the one that I typically use if I'm in front of the camera. So Yoris says split view for grading. Well, they have a comparison viewer now for grading. You have a comparison viewer in Final Cut. You've had it since 10.4 or 10.4.4 it came in. But 18 months ago, you have a comparison viewer. You can have the one side is you can pick stills or another clip before or after your clip. And this is the active one on the timeline. And you can bring up scopes in both of those windows and match them the best you can. So they have the color comparison viewer right now. Jack Isaac says, hey, Richard. Jack, how you doing? Well, how do I know you? Tell me how I know you. I'm not sure. I'm not positive. All right, what are we going to do before I go? We're going to check the App Store, right? Check it. I'm going to refresh it. Up, still 1048. Still 1048. Hasn't changed. One of these days, this is going to be changed. One of the days you wake up, and that is going to be changed. You're going to see a new version of Final Cut there. Jack says tracked mask. Yes, I would absolutely like tracked masked. So Yoris says, yes, I like the comparison viewer, but I want a split view. Okay, well, I don't know if you're going to get that, but that's fine. I'm sure it can come in handy when you are color grading, especially, right? Gert says, nope, it will be available tomorrow. That's what I hope. Listen, as soon as it comes up, whenever it comes live, I will go through some of the things, check it out. I'm going to come back on. I'll be on live within an hour or so, as long as it doesn't do it at 12 midnight. Typically, it comes up in the morning, and it's there. So Garrett says, Production World Online is soon. Production World Online starts on Sunday, and the normal track is $2.99 for different Premiere, a lot of Premiere training, After Effects, probably Photoshop and stuff. But the Apple track is free. The Apple track is free. Let me see if I can pull that up. Somewhere along there, somewhere, let me see, shortcuts. I'll pull it up here, then I'll bring the link up on the stage. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, one other thing. Our friend, here, let me pull this up. My friend Bradley Olson, who I co-edited the documentary Off the Tracks with, he's going to be on Computer Clan Live today. I think it's like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, something like that. I clicked on the link once. So go over there and listen to Mr. Brad. He's a good friend of mine. We've been friends for quite a while. That's not what I was looking for, though. So this is our third live stream that I've done in 48 hours. This is my third one in 48 hours. If I have something to talk about, I'll come on live. I certainly will when 10.5 comes out. I know a lot of people have just started to jump on things. Yes, they've just started. They've started streaming live. That's all the trend and everything. I've been doing it for over 3 years now. Let me see if I can figure. Here's another one that we did yesterday. Well, let me see if I can figure out what the heck We interviewed Marty Jenoff yesterday from Focal Point Productions talking about live streaming. He's done more live streaming than anybody that I know. So let's pull this up. See if I can pull this up somewhere. Well, anyway, there's a post-production world track that is available starting Sunday with a bunch of good people on it. WWDC's coming up. So I've done 150 episodes of Final Cut Pro Radio TV Live so far. 150 episodes I've done. That's a lot of streaming live. I've been doing it for quite a while. I do enjoy it. I enjoy you when everybody comes on and makes their comments and things. It's nice. The comments, I like the comments. Let me see if I can find the production world. It's Future Media Concepts. I have it posted here somewhere. Oh, man. I'm going to get some... Here it is. So here is the Apple ecosystem for filmmakers. It's not just... It's not just for... Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad. They used to have Facebook. I'm not going to join Zoom. I don't belong to Zoom. I don't like Zoom. So I won't be joining Zoom. They had the Facebook up there. They had Facebook up. Links. Maybe they're not doing it now. But anyway, if you guys do Zoom, there's a bunch of stuff there for Final Cut and mobile filmmaking and stuff. I will not be joining in on Zoom. They had Facebook sessions. I have screen grabs, and now they've taken the Facebook off. Facebook Live. No, I won't be joining in the Zoom. I don't like Zoom. Let me see something here. Maybe they still have it. I don't know if they still have it or not. But anyway, this starts this Sunday. There's a bunch of Final Cut Pro stuff and Apple ecosystem stuff it's going to be there. That's a free track, so I'm presuming that. I'm going to check with them. Yeah, I'm not going to be doing that. So anyway, that starts on Sunday. I'm going to be logging off here now. If you have any more questions, if you have any more comments, Coco says, thanks, Richard. Thank you. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. If you have any more comments about Final Cut Pro 10.5, go ahead and put them up before I sign off for the day. And I will see you again shortly. Here's the overhead cam once more. Here's my keyboard, my Rode microphone, Gobi, Anamorphic lens, Stream Deck, all that good stuff. So we're going to be going. Don't forget to check out Final Cut Pro Radio on... Let me pull that up real quick. You can find Final Cut Pro Radio FCPRadio.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, of course. The latest one episode was with Chris Fenwick. We talked about 10.5, emojis, Hunger Games, lots more. Stephen Moyer, LumaTouches, Terry, and Chris from LumaFusion. I've talked to them multiple times. And you can listen to the Final Cut Pro Radio episodes on iTunes. It's on iTunes. We've been on there for quite a while. Let me see what it says. 110 episodes, it says. They're counting different to me. I have 103, but whatever they say is fine. So Final Cut Pro Radio, the podcast, I'll have another episode out in a week or so. That's the audio podcast. It's only audio. Final Cut Pro Radio TV Live is these live streams. Jean-Baptiste says, have a great day, Richard. Same to you, Jean. Great live stream, very informative. One of the things that I keep seeing when it comes to iPhoneography and mobile filmmaking, the ability to get good audio into the iPhone. I know how to do it. I have the equipment. I have the microphones. I have the adapters. I have the knowledge. I come from an audio background. Before I did any video editing, I did audio for years. I have a recording studio. I have reel-to-reel decks that I recorded on. I'm going to be doing some iPhone audio specific podcasts, some of these live ones, and I'll do some tutorials on YouTube, both. Stay tuned. Look forward to those. I'm going to start at one level and then go to a mid-level and then go to the highest level that I use for getting the best audio. This thing's pretty cool, don't you think? I mean, it's not as good as this, but it's also not as expensive. This is a Sennheiser MKE 600. But it's pretty clever because I was doing this before they invented it. I was doing it with just like a black tube and using it sometimes. Very clever of Rode. I like them. I'm going to be getting a second one. Like I said, I'll probably be getting the white one so I can use it on with a white dress. Sounds great. Look forward to it. Yes, it is cool. You guys are absolutely the best. All the listeners out there, you make comments on Facebook or YouTube. I see both of them. You're the best. You're the reason that I come on here and do these. So my name is Richard Taylor, as you know. Let me pull that up real quick. Well, once again, FCPRadio.com. You can go there. You can also go to FCPX.tv. Anytime you want to make a comment to the Final Cut Pro team, it's right at the top of the page. The link is right there. Easy to remember. You don't have to remember a long URL. No advertising. There's no ads on my websites. Never going to be. I'm not putting ads up. I don't do it for that reason. My name's Richard Taylor. Is there any other comments? Scott says, you're the best, Richard. Thank you very much, Scott. That's a nice compliment. You guys are the best. All the listeners that come out there, you guys come and watch these live streams. I appreciate it. I'll keep making them better and better and better as we go. Let's see what 10.5 has to show us. I have confidence it's going to be a major update, but I have confidence it's going to be a great update. Apple said that Logic Pro 10.5 is the biggest update since 10.0, since it first came out. Everyone, thanks for stopping by. I'm going to sign off, and I'll be back on as soon as 10.5 comes out, or I'll do another stream in the interim. I'll be back on. Thank you very much for stopping by. I appreciate it.